Chapter 6, Preparing the Way for Prosperity. The other day I had lunch with a man who has had a rather unique record of success in business. I asked him, "To what do you attribute your continual prosperity?" He laughed and scratched his head, and then he said, "Well, I guess I just think things through before I do them." "Doesn't everybody?" I countered. "Maybe," he replied, "but most of them think the things through negatively, and that's the reason they fail." His approach excited me, and I questioned him further. "Well, I suppose I picture it all in my mind," he went on, "sort of like going to a play. I visualize each step and see myself succeeding. In my thinking, there's no place for failure. If things don't seem to be working out, I take another tack, but always, in my mind, I see the end result as working out successfully. I guess you'd say that I'm a confirmed winner, not a loser." The proper use of creative imagination. Every one of us is endowed with the faculty of creative imagination. You notice I say creative imagination. Creative imagination is using the imagination creatively to envision that which we desire. We all use the mental faculty called imagination, but sometimes we use it erroneously, picturing in our minds situations that we really do not want to experience. Everything that happens to us is created in the invisible world of the mind. You see, it behooves us, if we would be happy, to understand something about creative imagination. Otherwise, we may be planting mental seeds we do not want to harvest. As Job said, "The thing I greatly feared has come to pass." Creative imagination goes before us and prepares the way. Creative imagination is a form of prayer. Jesus was speaking of creative imagination when he said, "What things soever you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them." In other words, if you can imagine receiving your desires, they will come into your experience. The farmer uses creative imagination as it was intended to be used. When he plants the corn, he has in mind the full-grown corn stalk, the ears filled with corn. He envisions the time of harvest. Those who have succeeded in life have invariably used creative imagination properly. Tchaikovsky had a complete symphony in mind before he ever sat down to write it. Using creative imagination in selling. A salesman plans to make a call in the morning. It is a very important call to him. If he is a successful salesman, he does not weary himself by wondering what kind of a negative answer he is going to receive. Instead, he pictures in his mind the successful sale. He imagines himself confidently meeting the customer, presenting his ideas, and closing the sale. Using creative imagination, he is able to anticipate his customers' questions. When he actually makes his sales presentation, he is poised and confident. The customer also feels relaxed, and the sale is successfully concluded. One time a real estate salesman came to me. He told me that he had had a very poor year. "I have put many sales into escrow, but they all fell through," he said. I asked him, "What do you picture in your mind when you are showing people the property?" "Oh," he said, "I picture the sale in escrow." "Well," I said, "it surely is working for you. They all go into escrow, and that's as far as they get. Now let's start picturing the completed sale, the money distributed, the buyer happy, and you happy. Start visualizing the completed sale." "I never thought of that," he said, but once he tried creative imagination, the whole picture changed. In the same way, we are all creating our heaven and earth through our inner beliefs about ourselves. So let's give thanks for the wonder and glory of the perfect power within, realizing that we are given tools to use. Creative imagination is one of the most wonderful tools of all when we use it rightly. The way creative imagination works. We have seen that creative imagination works, bringing into manifestation our negative thoughts, as well as our constructive thinking. I think that Dr. Ernest Holmes explained the use of the imagination better than anyone. Just imagine yourself surrounded by mind so plastic, so receptive, that it receives the slightest impression of your thought. Whatever you think, it takes up and executes for you. Every thought is received and acted upon. Not some, but all thoughts. Whatever the pattern we provide, that will be our demonstration. If we cannot get over thinking we are poor, then we will remain poor. As soon as we become rich in our thought, then we will be rich in our expression. These are not mere words, but the deepest truth that has ever come to the human race. Hundreds of thousands of the most intelligent thinkers and the most spiritual people of our day are proving this truth. We are not dealing with illusions, but with realities. Pay no more attention to the one who ridicules these ideas than you would to the blowing of the wind. In the center of your own soul, choose what you want to become, to accomplish. Then keep it to yourself, every day in the silence of absolute conviction. Know that it is done. For it is just as much done as far as you are concerned as it will be when you experience it in the outer. Imagine yourself to be what you want to be. See only that which you desire. Refuse even to think of the other. Stick to it. Never doubt. Say many times a day, I am that thing, and realize what this means. For it means that the great universal power of mind is that, and it cannot fail. Opportunity never stops knocking. Moaning and groaning about missed opportunities is such a futile waste of time. Human judgment leads to misinterpretation of so many events in life. It could have been, if only I had of, I missed my chance, etc., etc., are traps for those who allow themselves to get caught up in living in the past. Today's opportunities are just as fruitful and productive as the opportunities of yesterday. Creativity is eternal. Opportunity keeps right on knocking on our door. It's never too late. Ideas keep coming unless we close them off, and these ideas can turn into prosperity goals achieved. Doing first things first. The other day I read an article in the newspaper about a man who was the head of a large business. His friends were celebrating his 90th birthday by having a big party for him. He was still active and creative in his business. His friends told him not to expect another such birthday party for another 90 years. This active, creative man remarked that his business premise was to always put first things first. He felt that many people wasted their time, effort, and energy on matters that could just as well be left undone. Do the most important thing first was his advice, and you will always be doing the most important thing. I couldn't help but think as I read the story that moaning and whining about lost opportunities is not putting first things first. Every moment we spend looking backward with regret is a moment wasted that could be spent on today's opportunities. Act as though you are, and you will be. Before a person can prosper, he has to think of himself as prosperous. It helps to claim prosperity for yourself. Affirm daily, I am prosperous. Everything I do prospers. I give to life, and life gives back to me. Act as though you are, and you will be. This does not mean to go out and run up a lot of debts, nor pretend that you are something that you aren't. It means to set your goals and start thinking of yourself as achieving them. The little girl who dresses up like mother and pretends her dolls are children is laying the foundation for being a good mother. The young people who work in junior achievement, forming a corporation, conceiving and developing a product, producing and selling that product, and keeping the books, doing all of the things done by a successful business, are laying the foundation for being successful business people, and will become real achievers. The great Goethe wrote these famous lines. Are you in earnest? Seize this very minute. What you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Only engage and the mind becomes heated. Begin and the work will be completed. Another power-filled thought is, do the thing and you will have the power. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that, I go back to this thought often in my work. It seems as if my wife and I are always biting off more than we can chew. But whenever I feel stalled and unable to accomplish, I just step in and start doing it. The trip begins with the first step. Lo and behold, the work gets done. My wife and I dreamed of writing many books. They don't write themselves, it takes a lot of work, but one step at a time. We have plugged along, the dream always foremost in our minds. You know the rest. Today we have quite a list of published books. Yes, act as though you are, and you will be. Self-direction. I am prosperous. Think this over 100 times if you have to, until it becomes embedded in your subconscious. I never entertain thoughts of poverty or lack. I am supplied from the infinite source, with all that I need and to spare. Right ideas come to me when I need them. I make right decisions at the right time. I am never alone. I have a silent partner who works with me in everything that I do. He is right within me, working with me every moment of the day. I have no regrets for the past, no fear for this moment, nor any anxiety for the future. I am protected by an infinite power. I am guided by divine intelligence, and I am sustained by a loving presence. All is well, and I am thankful. And so it is.